There was a man by the name of John Howe. He was a local butcher for a small little village over in England. Times were rough, money was hard to come by, and he was the only one in town doing well on his feet. So, in order to help out, he decided to make a stew. As the day got colder and the nights got harsher, the stew became more popular among the homeless. He was running low on beef, pork, venison, and rabbit. He decided to go for another ingredient, something he wanted to try. Him and his wife were having a rough time. She was going around cheating, and he wasn't too happy about this. The rage that he felt boiling in his stomach when he caught her one night. He took a butcher knife and stabbed her 13 times. The amount of years they've been married. And he found the man she was cheating on him with lying underneath the bed. He heard her gurgling, begging, and crying, and he decided to hide. The butcher laughed. He reached down, grabbed the man by the back of his neck, pulled him out from underneath the bed, and repeatedly stabbed him. The bodies were easily, taken care of. All he did was chopped up their legs. Made sure it was lean meat by skinning the fat off of them both. After a while, he realized he had to clean up the blood. He got a bunch of cleaning supplies. He knew what to use: ammonia, bleach, and water. As the sun rose over the horizon, he decided he'll take the day off and let the meat cook. As he woke up the next day, he realized, okay, my wife's gone. The man she cheated on me with is gone. I can do this. For breakfast that morning, he walked downstairs and decided to make some sausage out of his wife. After a moment or two, he realized what he was about to do. And when he took a bite, oh, did he love the taste of his wife. His mouth drooled, dripping down his chin, down his throat, and he realized how good humans can taste. So he decided to make this very stew. The recipe calls for 7 cloves of garlic, 3 pounds of human flesh, 3 different types of beans: pinto, lima, and kidney. Add some beef to make sure the human isn't well noticed. Add some celery, scallions, a little bit of parsley, basil, thyme, sage, and tomatoes, along with tomato paste and a little bit of pureed tomatoes. Let it cook for 13 hours and serve it over low heat the next day. When he introduced this new stew to his butcher shop, he realized how much money he was going to make off of this, even if the times were hard. 1 pound for a bowl, and for the homeless, free. One day, a pudgy young woman decided to walk into his shop. An unfortunate young soul who asked for some of his stew, and he was out of one particular ingredient: human flesh. He snickered and said, "Come on in the back, I'll show you how it's made." She was excited, ecstatic, because she had his stew before. When she walked back there, she didn't realize what was going to happen. As she opened her mouth to ask him a question, the butcher knife was slid right across her throat. She didn't even have a moment to scream, as she fell face first in the puddle of her own blood. She gagged, she coughed, and within 10 seconds she was gone. The butcher got to work immediately. It didn't take him long to realize what he had done, and hoping and praying that nobody would miss this young woman. He shrugged it off and said, whatever, nobody's gonna miss her. But everybody's gonna love her taste. Now, he sat down and he finally figured out how to season his meat. On a list, he wrote, mix human flesh with beef. Add garlic, thyme, basil, sage, parsley, and oregano. Add a little bit of deer fat or pork fat, depending on to taste. Within moments, he made her into a sausage and hung her outside of his window. It's been 3 months, and the missing persons board has quickly gone awry. The police decide to ask the butcher if he has seen anyone. By this point, he was too prideful to admit it, but he allowed the cops to come into his shop and allowed the cops to look around. One of the cops, shivering, he looked to the butcher and said, "Are you sure you haven't seen any of these women or men?" The butcher shook his head no, and then the cop looked at him again. "But sir, they were well-known customers to your store. You haven't seen them?" The cop was confused, and the butcher shrugged. "People go missing every day. A lot of the homeless people do too." The female cop, surprised, said, "But we didn't tell you anything about the homeless that gone missing." The butcher, noticing their suspicions, decided to shrug it off and say, "Well, you know what? How about a bowl of hot stew on the house?" The cops looked at each other, known the butcher for his famous stew, and they nodded. The butcher disappeared in the back, fired up the pot, poured them both a bowl, and walked back out. They sat down outside and started to eat. The female cop stopped, looked down, and screamed. At that moment, the bowl fell and crashed to the pavement below. The male cop sat there and vomited all over his pants.